Oh man, it's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, look, I'll tell you, I love it when guests like because you do a lot of lives as well. When you can actually figure out how to get on straight away. Because when we first started doing this, it was only about 2 months ago. I started doing it almost daily, and yeah, it would take like honestly like 5, 10 minutes. Sometimes after like 15 minutes, I'm like, no, look, we'll put a line through it. I'll jump on the phone, re-explain what to do, and then we'll start again. So super happy you managed to figure it out in like 20 seconds. So thank you, sir.
Yeah, awesome, man. It's all about that smooth
Yeah,
transition, right?
exactly. So yeah, man, I'm really excited for you to come on because yeah, basically, I know a lot of our members. They they're either coaches or they have courses or they're thinking about doing courses or they're thinking about doing coaching. So to be able to offer a bit of value in that regard is phenomenal. So yeah, man, I'd love to hear about how you got started in business. And is it that you've always wanted to work for yourself, or you more fall into it, or how did this all come about?
Ah, it's funny you ask that. So for me, I kind of got into business in a funny way. So, I did a lot of things um on my own after high school. I didn't go to post-secondary. I didn't really advance my life in any of those capacities, and I was really kind of just living day by day,
Yeah,
right? So I really wanted to kind of make something for myself, but in a sense for other people, right? I wanted to prove that, okay, I could do something, I could be valuable, I could be, you know, I could contribute,
yeah,
right?
absolutely.
So I really got into being a financial advisor. That's really where I got into
Cool.
business. And, in that field, you really have to work for yourself and you really have to advance and, kind of manage all the things yourself. And that's really what got me into business. And then through that, I took it as my own instead of trying to do it for other people. And I was like, oh, this actually is, I enjoy this. I like working for myself. I like, having to do all the things that go into being a business owner,
Yeah.
right? And then from there, I realized that maybe the financial space isn't where I wanted to be. So I kind of, did some research online. I've always been all over online ever since I was young. So I learned about e-commerce and started a shop. Fell flat on my face, to be truly honest. It did not turn out,
These things happen.
but I got my feet wet. Yeah, exactly. And I learned a lot, and from there, I advanced. I, got into learning how to market for businesses. Took a lot of courses in that. Um, Fell on my face in that in the beginning too, and then I got successful in what I saw was success. I got to where I wanted to be.
Nice.
Then that fell apart, came back up, and then here I am today, just kind of focusing my energy where I find I'm most
Yeah,
productive.
awesome. And that's the thing; it's about finding our path. And a lot of the time, we just kind of stumble into things, and then we either enjoy it or we don't, and then we kind of sometimes just pivot and do something else entirely. So it's phenomenal that you've been able to find something that you're able to focus your energy on, and actually you're passionate about it, so you can keep focusing that energy, which is fantastic there. So everyone that's just jumping on, so
Hmm.
yeah, Alicia, Drew, Simon, thank you so much for jumping on. If you have just jumped on, say hello. We'd love to hear from you. And if you have any questions as well for Keith, please drop them in the comments below. If you are on iTunes, obviously this is not live, so join the group. Yeah, no, that's cool, man. Like, and that's the thing. Like, we always, have it, all of us will, it's almost like an adult ADHD where we'll try and find different things and we'll, get our feet wet and test different industries. And then from there, we're like, nah, fuck that. Don't want to do that. And we'll kind of shift to something else. So it's cool that, yeah, you found something that you actually really enjoy. So, congrats on that.
Hmm. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, nice. So I guess from there, so you've really found your path and your calling, and then from there you started to build your business. So how has that, been in regards to that journey? Have you found it's because you did say you picked yourself back up from a previous business? Do you want to tell us a bit about that and to really how that helped you get to where you are today?
Yeah. So I mean, I'm kind of really building my life in two facets right now. So I'm doing my work with a lot of people I know um, to help them build their courses and their funnels and their coaching. A lot of stuff, on the strategy side and less on, the kind of back end
Okay.
keyboard
Yep.
stuff. I'm not too well versed. Like I know it, but I normally kind of pass that along. A lot of what I do is
Yeah, cool.
strategy, which is I find the most important part,
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
But aside from that, I also do a lot of, public speaking and building personal brand and building a platform in that sense. So, um, but how I got to that was through having, my marketing agency where I tried to do everything. And that's really what I talk about when I say, I went from down here up to here, back down to here, and then, gradually rising up
Yeah,
again in the right way, right? Because, online there's lots of ways to make money and there's lots of ways to, you know, provide services, but sometimes it's not always, in the best way,
of course. Yeah.
right? You can make some quick money, but it's not going to be sustainable. So that's really what I did in the beginning is, I got 5 clients. They were paying me. I felt like, I was going upwards. Everything was going good, but I didn't plant a solid foundation for my business to stand on,
Yeah.
and everything crumbled beneath me, right? So when it really comes into doing business online, what you put in it in the beginning really is the foundation of what's going to support all the things you put on top of it, right? So that's really what I learned. I literally had 0 clients, wondering, okay, I had all this, what happened? Now I don't even have any income at all. So I took a step back and realized, instead of trying to do everything, which a lot of, everyone's a social media marketer these days, and I tried to do everything,
Yeah.
thinking I could do everything, you know, SEO, web development, Facebook, Instagram, all this stuff. I thought I could do it all, and I realized, I don't. First of all, I'm not good at everything. I don't want to be a jack of all
Yeah.
trades. I don't want to be okay at everything. I want to just be really good at 1 or 2
Nice.
things, and that really transformed my business.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Because that's the thing. It is a case of, we try to, especially say in the beginning, if there's clients there, well, you just want to take them no matter what industry it is, and like, if we can't do it, we'll find someone that
Hmm.
can, and outsource that. So, to really then focus on one thing and be really, really good at that one thing is going to help so much more, to help then build your foundation, as you said. So yeah, that's really well put.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm.
for sure.
Definitely changed the outlook I had on
Yeah,
business.
nice.
It's the foundational
Yeah,
piece,
for
right?
sure. So I guess, for if it is more so strategy that is your main focus for those at home, if there's any value you're able to offer, maybe in the beginning for those that say do have courses or something like that, or maybe they're coaches. Is there any strategies you can recommend for those just starting out or something like that?
Yeah, this is a really big one that I really stress to a lot of people is people try and think that when they're getting into it, they see all these big gurus and everyone's an expert, but they always hear people talking about how you need this elaborate funnel, you need this tripwire and this 3-part webinar and all this like these trickle down email strategies and all this stuff, and it's just like some of the simplest funnels get the most leads and make you the most
Oh
money,
yeah,
right?
what's his name? I think
So
is it Sam Cummings, the New Zealand guy. He's got an ad agency, and you always see on Facebook. I clicked on one of his ads, and now I see it all the time. But he made 20 million, and yeah, on the front end, I mean, as far as everyone knows, it's either he's doing really really well, or he's talking shit. But from what I've picked up, I think he is doing really well. And yeah, he has one funnel that is a webinar that leads to a call. So obviously he's got an ad agency as well, but yeah, just one funnel, and he's absolutely smashing it. So yeah, sometimes you don't need super
mhm.
elaborate funnels or anything like that.
Yeah, and I mean there's a time and a place, right? There's definitely a time and a place, and it's really hard to say what's going to work best for each individual person because everyone's so different, everyone's product's so different. But that's the difference between kind of tips and tactics versus strategy,
Yeah,
right? Because you can figure out the strategy that's going to work for you and then just add tips and tactics into your strategy, right? And as you continue to learn, that's when you can really create a system that's going to work continuously for a long time, right? Because it's the internet, especially Facebook marketing and all these different marketing, systems and platforms, it's it's kind of hit and miss sometimes when you're in the beginning because you're just like, oh, you found something that works and you're like, oh, you're super excited, but then it stops working and you don't know what you
Yeah.
did and you don't know why it worked and you can't figure out how to make it do what it was doing
Yeah,
again, right?
replicate it. Yeah, absolutely.
But the thing is exactly, but the thing is there is things that you can do repeatedly and have it work out. There is people that just, not every single one, obviously not, but most of the time when they set up a system, it will work over and over again because they have a strategy. They have this system and they're applying it every time. Um, I think what it really comes down to is figuring out, where do you want to take your customer, your lead? Where is the end goal? Where do you want them to go, right? Because then you can figure out how do you get them there, right? So if you're trying to say sell something high ticket, $1,000, $2,000, $10,000 course, you can't just walk somebody into that first thing. You have to ease them into it. You have to build trust. They have to understand what you're about. They have to, they have to feel that they're going to get value
Yeah,
from you,
absolutely.
right? So you don't start with the top end because at the end of the day, I love what Russell Brunson talks about when he says, we all want to be providing our best service. We want to be providing our highest level stuff because that's what we enjoyed
Yeah,
doing,
definitely.
right? We enjoy helping people to the maximum of our capacity. So when somebody comes in and says, how do I make a website? And you're like, I can like, I want to help you up here, but you're still down here,
Yeah.
right? So it's like, and that's the thing, people are going to be coming in at all different levels. So in your funnel, where are you trying to take them? Where do you want to get people to? And that's why some funnels only need 2 steps. If your end level product is like a $97 course or something like that, 1 or 2 simple steps, simple 1-2 day email campaign, 5 day, webinars, whatever it takes, then you can get them there. A lot of things I like to do revolve around video. Um, I'm lost for words. I'm at a loss for words right now, but a lot of video content,
Yeah,
right? Because people really resonate with video
definitely.
content. You can see it kinesthetically and visual, and can hear it. So I also really like to use PDFs. I know some people don't, but I find that depending, especially with courses and different things like that, starting with short PDFs and different things like that, really, really positive.
Yeah, absolutely. That gift for the email permission based email exchange is big, and yeah, the video is fantastic because
Hmm.
then people can start to see who you are, and they can start to either they say, yep, this is for me, or this isn't for me, and you're either relatable or you're not, and they can start to trust in you because they can actually see who you are. Whereas if it's just a lot of text and there's no real person behind that, then it's going to be much harder to convert. So yeah, video is super important, and with Facebook pushing for more video, that's why they've made it cheaper when you're running ads, and now with if just say using ClickFunnels as an example for courses and things like that, then yeah, video is a very powerful tool for sure.
And I just want to also mention that, right now, especially in the past, I'd say year and a half, there have been a lot more courses coming
Yeah,
out, right? Like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of courses coming out,
yeah,
right? So when you're trying to lead people into your courses, into your coaching, over time, the market's going to become more saturated. So it's really important to have your strategy locked down, be building your foundation now, because in the future, um, it's going to be harder because not just because of, it's going to be harder to get placements or different things like that, but because people are numb to your
yeah,
course advertising. They'll see it and they'll know exactly what it
yeah,
is. And they'll be like, oh, this guy's trying to take me to a webinar and take me to do this and take me to do that so I can buy
yeah,
something, right? So you're going to have to be more crystal clear. And it's all about authenticity, right? It's not about using tactic. It's really about showing your real authentic self and showing your value as soon as
yeah.
you can and letting them know that, you have a lot to offer them. So that's really what it is. Just value exchange. That's really what it all comes down to,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, 100%. And it's funny you say that yeah, people will become more numb because even for the last year or so, you can see that because yeah, there are, as you said, hundreds and hundreds, or if not thousands, of new courses popping up, all over the world, and it is now becoming more of the norm. And that's people see it and they're like, oh, it's just another course or another agency or whatever else. So it's already starting to become that way. So it's really interesting to see this shift. Whereas only a few years ago, it was an almost untouched market, especially when Russell Brunson brought out ClickFunnels, doing the way that he did it. I mean, sales and landing pages have always been around, but he's really been pushing them in a unique way, and that's why he's been so successful. And yeah, really now it's a case of, it's certainly not a saturated market yet, depending on your niche, but it's definitely getting that way. So it's certainly not too late to have courses and things like that, but it's definitely going to be a lot harder, in the coming years. And then eventually it'll be a case like with billboards where they just don't really work anymore. No one bothers to look up as much as they used to, or, TV ads, people just tune out. I find sometimes, I mean, shit, like I don't have TV actually connected in my house, but I remember when I would have TV, it just doesn't interest me. I mean, look, I love Netflix, don't get me wrong, but, I watch that on my own time. And yeah, I remember the times that there was a TV ad where there was no sound, it would actually make you stop what you're doing and look up from your phone or whatever else you're doing. I'm like, oh, what's going on? Is the TV broken? And then you realize it's a silent ad. So then you're now encapsulated in that because it's something unique. So yeah, certainly over the next few years, it may get a bit harder. So yeah, we're just going to have to adapt and change and kind of pick, what we're doing and how to kind of overcome that so we can still gain people's attention, just like they found it so easy to do only a few short years ago.
Yeah, and it's exactly to the point of them, as a consumer ourselves, we're becoming numb to
Yep.
it, right? So now it's the opposite, like you said, when it's quiet, because we're so used to advertising, we look up because we're like, oh wait, we're not getting pitched
Yeah.
right now, we're not getting
Yeah.
advertised to. You know what I mean? It's the opposite effect, right? But I found this stat, it was really interesting. So basically, I believe it was 2000. In the year 2000, it took on average five, I forget the word, points of
Okay. Yep.
contact with a product for somebody to feel comfortable to buy it. And they say by, I think it was 2019 or 2020, on average, it'll be 20 touch
Yeah.
points
Great.
before somebody feels comfortable enough to buy from a
Yeah.
brand, right? And that's really the value. That's why Facebook, for example, advertising is so valuable because you can. It's all about the
Yep.
retargeting. It's all about hitting them consistently and repeatedly with honest and truthful ad messaging,
Yeah.
right? And that's why I think that with the marketplace becoming saturated, it's actually in a sense a good thing for people who are doing it the right
Yep.
way, because it'll become harder for people who are doing it the wrong way. But the people who are doing it the right way, it will almost be better because the standard will be higher and people will recognize what's good from bad. And that'll always end up good for the people who, are doing it authentically. So,
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing, that those that are doing it, yeah, as you exactly said, authentically, then they're going to be able to prosper a lot more so because they're actually doing the right things, offering the right value, doing it the right way. And they are just true to themselves and they're very, honest in what they're doing, opposed to those ones. So it's funny, I had a guest on here, maybe a month, 2 months ago, and we were joking about how on Facebook ads, you see it a lot of the time. People say, "Oh, I made X amount in X amount of months or whatever else," and we're having a bit of a laugh about one specific one, but we didn't drop any names. And then afterwards, we got in a call and it was like, "Was it that dude?" I'm like, "Yeah, man." Because it just made me laugh that if someone's running Facebook ads saying that they've made millions and millions of dollars. And like with that Sam Cummings guy, I think that he's genuine, he's authentic, and that's why I was happy to mention his name. But for the ones that aren't doing it, and then you'll see at the bottom there that there'll always be one comment, and I'm like, why do you keep turning off comments? Like, because the guy's dodgy as fuck.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
doubt. You know, it's once you figure out what to look for, they start, you know, you start seeing it more often. You're just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, for
You
sure.
know, then you gotta
Because that my
do whatever you can to get away
yeah,
from it.
definitely. Like my first experience of this was actually on YouTube, on a YouTube ad, and not on Facebook. And yeah, basically this guy was saying, "Oh, I made like hundreds of $1,000s is only a few months." And then one of the very first comments was, "Oh, these numbers don't add up. Like from your website visits, you've got this number. From your sales of this that you claim you've got this number. Where you get all this extra funds from, like, just doesn't add up." And then he left one comment. He's like, "Oh, well, I have other businesses as well," which is just failed to mention. So it's funny. So yeah, if you're doing it
Wow.
authentically, then you're going to get a lot further. With community and with your audience. So it's a good thing.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just to add on that point, I think, you know, especially what you're doing, a lot of people are doing, really where the trend is going right now with, you know, courses and coaching and all these different things is really representation and community building, right?
Yeah.
So, especially when you look at things like Facebook groups and, you know, kind of how the communities work on Instagram, that's really where things are trending. If you really look at it, that's where people feel the most comfortable. That's where you can, you know, build that connection because, you know, with things like live video, just video in general, audio podcasts and things like that, people gain a sense of relationship with you, right? You know, it's funny when I see lives with people and I connect with them and then I see them in real life, you
Yeah.
know, and they've seen you comment or whatever, but they don't know you like you know them in a sense. And it's
Yeah.
funny from our perspective, but you know, from a consumer, you treat them as if you know them. And that's really what you're trying to build, right? Because imagine being able to have one-on-one relationships with thousands and thousands of people,
Yeah.
right?
Definitely.
All at one time through live video, and you know you're able to provide the value that you would be able to one-on-one through your courses. So that's really powerful. And you know, Facebook groups, if I had any advice, is, you know, once you have your system in place, it's more about getting the people into your funnels and into your system so that you can get money on the other side
Yeah.
and you can provide more value, hence, right? So I would be focusing on, you know, where are the people coming from and like how can you help them the best and different things in that
Yeah,
aspect.
no, fantastic. Some great value there, Keith. Absolutely. So everyone that's just tuned in, thank you so much. If you are tuning in, we'd love to hear from you. If you could just say hello in the comments, just so that way we know that you are watching this at home, and that way if any questions come up later, some fantastic questions, because you'll be in the comments and you'll get notified for that. So we'd love for you to say hello. Maybe drop hashtag value in the comments or something like that. So Keith, yeah, this is a great man. A lot of really great valuable information. So I guess steering away from also the course aspect, more so for coaching, for those that are maybe they're established in their businesses, but they're kind of looking to take it to the next level. Is there any advice, I guess, on some, obviously not secret strategies that you offer? Because obviously we can discuss those later in regards to how people get in contact with you, but more so I guess just any basic strategies that you can recommend for coaches to just help step up their game.
Okay, I think one of the big things is people don't mention their coaching early enough. They really don't. You know, they try and put their coaching at the very end of their communications, right? But sometimes, you know, once you've, especially if you have a community, people who are loyal and, you know, want the experience to continue as much as it can, because that's really what it's all about. You know, when you look at events, you look at courses and things like that, you know, once you gain a customer, like Russell Brunson says, I love what he says is he says, you're never going to lose a customer once you gain them unless you like, what's the word he says?
Basically, fuck up.
Disrespect them, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, unless you like fuck it up, they're gonna want the experience to continue, right? That's why when you go to these events and you know in person all the time, they don't let the experience end. You don't just go home and say, okay, that was great. You know, they'll invite you to another conference or check out this online product. And the same thing online is, you know, okay, you've done this, now you can do this, and always, you know, upselling. But the thing is, when it comes to coaching, if you don't introduce it early enough, you know, then you introduce it at the very end, and they might have said yes this many steps
Yeah.
ago,
Okay.
right? So you got to give them the chance to say no. That's the big thing. You got to give them the chance to say no. So upsells, but also having downsells if they do say no, right? So if you introduce it early, just because they say no doesn't mean they're not going to say no down the line. So you're not really necessarily burning the lead. So they say no, then you downsell to the course, right? So you have the webinar, upsell to the coaching, maybe downsell to the course. If they don't like that, they take the course, then you try and pitch them the coaching again. So it's really important to be giving your leads and your customers the chance to say no. I think that's one of the most important things. Is introduce it early, let them know. Not everything. Don't give all the beans away, right? Like if you have some super secret higher level coaching, at least put them through the lower level first, or give them, a package that shows everything for the most part. But sometimes you want to be able to choose who gets your highest level stuff, right? So it's really important to have a tier system of what you want to offer, right? But you also want to give them a chance to skip a tier.
Yeah, that's it. If you're not, making it available and there's no access there, then people don't know it's available. And it's funny you say that because, like I've done, a few coaching calls in regards to like sales training and things like that. I don't think I've ever mentioned that in this group. Like it's just, I've done it with members in the group, but it's always been on the back end just through like messenger chat or whatever, and then we jump on calls. But I don't think I've ever mentioned it in the group. And we've had this for a few months.
And you don't want to undervalue. You don't want to undervalue the relationship you might have built with people who are still just entering into the group or into the funnel or whatever, right? Because if you're doing a really good job, you're building that trust and that value immensely right away. So you don't ever want to underestimate the value you're giving and the relationship you're building.
Yeah, absolutely. So some great points there. Man, no, this is fantastic. I think there's a lot of value that you've offered today, and a lot of people that are listening in at home or will be listening in on iTunes and Android. They're definitely going to be able to take some notes and apply a lot of this. So really appreciate all the your time and everything. So I guess Keith, what's next? With your business, like because you're really niching down and focusing on one or two main core aspects. So where can you see your business going next?
For myself right now, a lot of it is kind of building a platform for myself for my public speaking, and in terms of my funnel building and course building kind of strategy side of it, a lot of it is just working with who I really feel that I can benefit the most. My aim isn't to expand this into like 8-figure business or something like that, right? More of it is just like create something that's valuable and help out in kind of the aspects that I know best. I want to work with people who are providing value back to the people who they want to serve. So for me, it's just working with the best kind of people and just being able to help people put out things that are really going to make a difference. That's really what I'm about right now.
Well, I'd love to hear more about your public speaking. How did you get into that?
Okay, yeah. So it's funny. So I kind of started branding as a personal brand through marketing and trying to do the internet marketing stuff. And through doing that and doing live videos, I kind of found a passion of speaking on my story instead of marketing. I found I didn't want to talk about that. And that really sparked inside me the drive to start speaking on stage and sharing my story of what I call self-definition, right? So I find a lot of people, especially, being 23 years old, a lot of my friends, went to university and did this or that because they were told to by their parents. Or I also have on the other end of the spectrum, people who dropped out because they weren't told anything or told they weren't going to be anything. And in both sides of that spectrum, people were told what it is that would make them happy and what they should do with their life. And so really what I speak about a lot is defining yourself on your own terms and through doing so, defining your happiness. Right? Because I think everyone should take the time to self-reflect and figure out, why is it that I do what I do? Because when you really dig deep, we all do the things that we do mostly from things that happened and that we learned through our
Yeah,
childhood,
absolutely.
right? So when you figure out, why I'm not happy doing this, maybe it's because, you were given your values in a sense, right? So you need to take the time to self-reflect and figure out your own values and to be able to build on top of them. Because once you have a foundation of happiness, then you're able to build on top of it and do the things that make you the most happy. Because it's not about making the most money or having the most brag-worthy career or, doing any of these other, superficial things. It's about, spending the time doing things you love the
Yep.
most. That's really what
Yeah,
it's about.
absolutely. No, I couldn't agree more because I mean, when as you made a point in regards to it's not about money. It's sometimes it's like, well, if you want all these things, it's more the financial security is more just that safety, which then comes back to happiness again. So at the end of the day, it's whatever makes us happy. So yeah, that's fantastic. So I guess with the public speaking, so with you looking to build on that more, so is that more say stage presence or more like within say platforms like Facebook, or what kind of direction where you're looking to take it further?
Um, so I mean, I haven't been the most consistent with my online strategy,
Yep.
not going to lie, because I found that it's about impact, right? It's about influencing people's lives and really making an impact. And I was building it quite consistently and I was really doing well, but I found that I wanted the live aspect of it to build also. So what I've spent the last 2 months doing is building a foundation for real life because, social media, I love what Gary Vaynerchuk says. He says social media is just word of mouth on
Yeah.
steroids, right? But you have to be worthy of being talked about. So I've been really honing in on my message and my speaking and, what I want to do with it before I go full throttle, making all these different posts because I really believe in, if you're going to post, it better have a
Yeah.
purpose. I see too many posts online that don't have a purpose. And even if one post has a purpose, the other one doesn't have a purpose. Right? So all of your posts need to be in alignment with an end goal, taking somebody from one place to another, having them have a feeling and having them not want that feeling to end and continue down, right? So right now I'm really just focusing on the live aspect. And I've been working with a lovely lady. So I'm going to be speaking at an event in the future, April
Yeah. Awesome.
21st. So I've been really helping her with that, doing a lot of marketing in that aspect. And through that, I've been learning, meeting a lot of people in the industry. So I'm just taking that and learning the real life aspect of it before I jump full throttle into the online stuff. But I think they go hand
Yeah,
in hand.
yeah, absolutely. I agree there. No, that's really cool. Well, yeah, I hope it goes really well for you. So it sounds like it's quite planned out. And yeah,
Awesome.
man, I'm looking forward to hearing how it goes for sure.
Thank you. I
Yeah,
appreciate that.
absolutely. So I guess Keith, yeah, with everyone at home, so for you to be able to assist them further with their businesses, what's the best way to get in contact with you?
Um, I think the best way to get in contact with me would be on Facebook. You can also check out my website. Um, it's still a work in progress, I would
That's cool.
say. Most it looks
Yeah,
okay, but the content, like I said, still coming out. You can check it out. It's got a lot of stuff on it, but KeithNeuman.com, Neuman with a U,
yep.
Neuman. You can check me out there. Send me an email. I have to clarify that because almost it's always NEW, right? And, people always bring up the Seinfeld joke.
Oh
So
shit.
I've been getting that one since I was like 4 years
Yeah,
old.
Neumann.
So
Oh fuck yeah. Yeah, fair enough. No, man. Well, in the title,
yeah,
I'll have your name
but also
spelled
on
right, so
Facebook.
everyone can just use that to then, yeah. And in here as well, if you can drop all the
Awesome.
links as well for all your websites and stuff, that would be awesome. That way, people can just click on it, and it's nice and simple.
Awesome. Yes, I'll definitely
Yeah,
do that.
awesome. All right, Keith. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. This has been an absolute pleasure. It's been a lot of fun, a lot of value as well. So, really appreciate your time for coming on and sharing your industry with us.